Half-Life is known for being a bit of an oddball series, and this idea is inseparable from how iconic it is, how it really shook gaming up. As a fan of the series, you sometimes see something that makes you just stop and go, huh. Such as in the case of the texture for Corpse 1 being taken from a real person. Today, I'll be talking about Half-Life's unhinged promotional material, and why it's mostly just awesome. Half-Life came out at a time where magazines were, in my opinion, genuinely cooler than anything on the internet.
I remember these things were so sick. What was your favourite magazine, gaming or not? Don't say Playboy.
Print had a lot of power, so a lot more importance was placed on it. Skibbity toilet kids of yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago, were hyped to get their hands on something tangible that was so connected to their interests and worlds. So let's take a look at some of Half-Life's unhinged promotional material. Fair warning, this is absolutely deranged.
Let's start off strong with 3 babies. No, really, 3 babies. I found 3 babies, there may be more.
The first 2 read, "Life will be different, not for the faint-hearted." And I have to say the French outdid us on this one, which means something like, "Your little life will seem so dull." Beat you to it, Pierre. It already does. As if out of some sort of cursed proto-Snapchat filter, they all have these, like, lambda contact lenses in. Obviously, photoshopped, I would hope. This one only has 1. Not sure why. Maybe it's stupid. Gabe Newell was scared of babies at the time, mostly because of his son, which inspired the boss fight with the Nihilanthe.
The idea to use depictions of babies or children to elicit a shock from the audience is not new, even at the time. But I maintain, this is one of the most unhinged ways I've seen it used.
I actually like these. These range from awful to like, that's kinda different I guess. But the message they put across is pretty good, considering how groundbreaking the game did go on to be.
The claim that gaming was about to change forever was not necessarily anything new, but in this case it turned out to be 100% true. It was like a sign of things to come. We were all just babies at the time, unaware of the awesomeness that was about to shake up the game industry. And this basically sums up my feelings during the time I was researching this. This was weird, sure, but somehow it got weirder.
We borrowed a lot from existing ideas and conventions, brought to us by things like comic books, where colours and chaos roamed free. Half-Life did get some, normal looking ads, but look, these ads have given us something to remember and talk about. What we have next is a collection of ads that I'm going to call the insane ones, which is a very funny idea, given our topic today. But I can explain. Oh, and there's a little design history in there too. As you can see, I call them the insane ones because they look straight out of Jack the Ripper's typewriter. And the messaging is just...
She's smart, she has a great personality, and she knows that the way to a man's heart is through his sternum. Which... Alright, hear me out.
And we have another one here that says...
He would have graduated first in his class from the academy, except he ate the drill sergeant. Now, the only thing I can really take from this is that it's a play on the old cope, I could have gone pro in college if I didn't break my knee thing that so many American dads are apparently known for saying. Americans, is this real or just a meme? I need to know.
Other than that, this is just incomprehensible. Now, friends, I have no trouble at all understanding why an alien grunt would eat drill instructor Barnes, let's say. At least I'm assuming it's an alien grunt. Even if there's no way its skeleton looks so human. But why would an alien grunt be in any position to graduate from any academy? Assuming he's here to invade Earth. And if it's talking about alien military academy, I didn't know they have those. I sort of figured these guys work straight out of the box.
And look, obviously I'm overthinking this one. It's just a silly ad from a time where they didn't really know what everything was going to be all about.
There are very small screenshots of the game here. This wasn't unusual for the time, technology being what it was. But why? Don't they want to sell us that game? Well, I can explain before we go on to today's last examples. Let's dive in. According to this article by Chris Sims, games often look so low res, low poly, and sometimes unintelligible, so smaller screenshots were used, with the bombastic stuff I mentioned earlier taking the lead. And this actually continued in some cases into the early 2000s.
With so many game ads appearing in comic books at the time, advertisers knew who their audience was, and they also knew that audience had expectations for colour and character. What followed was something of an arms race, with all kinds of advertisers adopting this sort of style. Years ago, before Half-Life was even thought of in 1990, TurboGrafx put out this monstrosity, which I honestly think is really cool. Cooler still, it clearly, at least in my opinion, resembles the Half-Life ads. the insane ones. Pretty cool, huh?
But as gaming magazines themselves became more and more relevant, advertisers had narrowed down their audiences further. In an age of weird prints, you still had to stand out. One easy way to do this is go weirder. It's no surprise then that these are the sorts of things we came up with. Finally, while looking around, I stumbled across a post from Detective John Kimball 85 on Reddit, who kindly uploaded these pictures of some Half-Life PC Gamer magazine ads. These are the coolest for me. They're not the most visually stunning, but they have a great message, which is kind of what advertising is for.
Now today we may feel that game advertisements have lost their charm and are frankly shit. But really, it's just gotten better at what it was put there for. As much as you and I might want to return to this era of early installment weirdness, money talks, and it's really loud. A lot of modern ads may feel super one note, because the industry has just figured out that that seems to be what works best when it comes to selling a game. When you combine this with a target audience that uses so many small screens, you start to run out of space, and then you have to choose to sell or to be an artist. Rarely can someone pull off both. Personally, I love the wacky stuff like this, but that's just the way it goes.
Now, I'm not going to take up all your time reading this out, even though this would definitely net me a few more mid-roll ads. But if you stop and read this, you'll see it sounds pretty frantic. This was a great way of putting across Half-Life's fascinating AI. At this time in gaming, the idea of all these things having such poise and direction, which is often reflected in their actual in-game AI, is a great selling point. This talk here about the aliens having a will to live fits in with the lore, but it also projects a very natural, emotional idea onto these ones and zeros, which is just so powerful. The next talks about the on-the-move decision-making in Half-Life. I'd say it's pretty accurate, right? Seeing it all written out like that just drives home how frenetic and fun Half-Life really is. Finally, we have this one, which repeats turn, run over and over, before asking, feeling safe? And then below that is run, shoot, repeated, with the bottom asking, bored yet? Valve didn't want us to feel bored. They also didn't want us to feel safe. Clearly, in their opinion, what came before them did both of these things far too much. And yeah, given how fast-paced and exciting Half-Life is, you rarely do have a chance to feel safe. Bravo, Gaben.
These pages all contain references to run, think, shoot, live, which was a tagline for Half-Life. As much as it is advertising to the player, it's a statement of intent. It was going to be larger, more player involved, more ambitious. The way they've done it is a bit sassy really, considering how much Half-Life got from companies like id. Although nothing wrong with two gamers just competing, am I right?
There's way more Half-Life stuff on my channel here if you like it. Go check it out, and of course, hit all the good buttons if you enjoyed too. See you next time!